Hey Cruise family, it's O.
And Co.
We made a ton of little mistakes on our first Carnival cruise, and today we're going to help you avoid them.
From check-in to lanyards, this is everything we wish we knew before our first Carnival cruise. Part 1. Alright, let's start with check-in. Carnival check-in opens about 2 weeks before your cruise and a little earlier for Platinum and Suite guests. This is where you choose your boarding time, upload your travel info, and link a payment method for all of your onboard purchases. It's kind of like checking into a hotel before your vacation actually starts. It's done in your Carnival.com portal, and check-in starts at midnight. So if you want an early boarding time, they go fast. Stay up until midnight. If check-in is Wednesday, stay up late on Tuesday, so when the clock strikes midnight, you can get in.
Do not use your phone to check in. It will work, but you are more likely to have more errors than if you used a computer. Check-in times are based on your specific preferences. We like to check in early to make sure we can enjoy the ship as much as possible.
And so we don't have to buy the kids lunch.
But some people like to check in right around the times the rooms are going to be ready, which is about 1:30. When you check in, you're going to provide a credit card or debit card for Carnival to keep on file. Keep in mind that on boarding day, Carnival is going to babysit your money with a small hold on that card. Don't panic, that is normal. It covers any onboard spending and gets adjusted at the end of your cruise based on what you actually spent. Also at check-in, you can assign spending limits to everyone in your cabin on that card.
And definitely put a spending limit on the kiddos. They will be given a sign and sell card also, which we'll get into what that is later. That sign and sell card, however, is attached to your account, and they will keep this card on them for most of the sailing. This means even when you are not with them, your bank is. So either set limits or instill some good old-fashioned fear of God in them.
The ship is cashless, but there are going to be times where you need cash, or you can use cash just for traveling in general. For tips, for shopping when in port, street vendors, etc. A lot of street vendors work for tips only. Also, the casino is a big place where you can use cash as well.
But you don't have to use cash. You can use your sign and sell card in there.
Yes, but there's a 3% charge for charging to your sign and sell account for the casino. If you have cash, you can just use cash there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That is fascinating. So they charge you to use your sign and sell card on a cashless ship, but they told you it was cashless before you came.
For the casino, yes.
Fascinating.
During the check-in process, you're also going to register the kids for the kids clubs that they have on board the ship. Doing it now makes it a whole lot easier when you actually have to check them in on board in person. Also, you're going to provide travel documents and travel plans. They will ask things like, how are you getting to the port, flight information, where are you parking, etc.
Also in your Carnival.com portal is where you will print documents like your boarding pass and luggage tags. Luggage tags are available to print anytime. Boarding passes, however, are only available after check-in because they have your check-in time listed. Every bag that will be given to the porters will need a tag. As a rule of practice, I tag even the bags that we are carrying on. The luggage tag has your name, ship, sail date, cabin location, and number on it. Neither the tags or passes have to be printed in color. You will need your boarding pass printed and in hand on boarding day. Please do not just attach the paper printout to your luggage. Get plastic luggage tag covers. They're fairly inexpensive and can protect your tags from the elements. After all, it's just a piece of paper. The ones we use are linked down below. If you have the ink bandwidth, print the boarding passes for the kids who are old enough to carry it themselves in hand, as well as spare copies for the inevitable, "Mom, I lost my boarding pass." Carrying the passes individually speeds things along as they will cycle through each person and each pass no fewer than 400 times from arriving to the port to boarding the ship.
Check out our check-in video and a Carnival 101 series for step-by-step, in-depth view on the check-in process. Before we go much further, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episode of our Carnival 101 series, including part 2 of this video. Porters at each terminal. This is who you give your bags to on boarding day. They will load your bags onto the ship, and then a crew member will deliver the bags to your cabin later on in the day. We usually tip porters around $10, but the norm is around $5 per bag. Don't give anything important to porters, as you will not see your bags until later on when they're delivered, sometimes as late as 8 or 9 p.m. And with all luggage, the possibility of them getting lost is there, unfortunately. So you don't want to give the porters your grandma's heart meds or Uncle Frank's oxygen tank.
Keep all things needed to live on you, from the car to your cabin, so you know that it gets on.
Check baggage service is only available until 2 hours before the ship's published sailing time. This is printed on the cruise documents. If you board after this time, you are responsible for taking your own bags on board. So this is hyper important when you actually are picking your boarding times, whether or not you want to carry your luggage on or whether you want to give the luggage to the porters. You don't have to check bags with the porters. You can carry them on yourselves if you want to. I really don't suggest that you do. But
I'm not going to say don't suggest that you do, because I prefer to carry my bags on because I know I will have my bags. It's only when they're super big.
And my wife is an overpacker, and so therefore she likes to have 2 or 3 big bags that she doesn't have to carry on. I do.
That's kind of true. So I can see why you wouldn't recommend it, but I personally would rather carry some bags on.
Sure,
because then you don't have to worry about like people who they drop their luggage into the ocean. Because Carnival is amazing, but like most cruise lines, when things go wrong, there's the assistance is minimal. And so it's best to just not have a thing go wrong to begin with. And although I'm overselling carrying your bags on.
Yeah, you are.
It's a lot of work.
Don't carry your bags on.
If you don't have to.
Because then you gotta keep them with you until 1:30 p.m.
Yeah.
That means if you get on board at 10:30 a.m., 5 hours later, you still have your bags with you.
The bags that you choose to carry on will go through security and the security scans. So it's sort of like a TSA checkpoint, but no removing your shoes. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about carrying like a really big suitcase on board yourself versus checking it with the porters.
Or your husband carrying it.
Or your husband carrying it. All right, next up, we're going to talk about downloading the Carnival Hub app. This app is pretty boring prior to boarding. However, once you get on board, it comes alive and becomes your guide to sailing. It has dining times, menus, shows, activities. Everything is listed in the Hub app. It basically just becomes your personal guide during your sailing. You can do a portion of your muster station on the app. The muster station is basically the safety briefing, and you can get a portion of it done in the app, and the rest of it you go to check in and watch a quick visual representation of what you need to do in case of an emergency, and then you're all done. Get that done the second you get on board. The Wi-Fi is limited. It's available for you simply to connect to the Carnival Hub app and go to maybe carnival.com's website.
Yep.
But you won't be able to go to any external sites unless you bought a Wi-Fi package. In the Hub app is also where you'll find the Messenger app. We use this for every cruise. It's $5 per person. Now, side note, we also try walkie-talkies on the ship to see if they work. And they did work out pretty well, but finding a channel that staff, security, or other passengers are not already on can be a challenge. So we are not walkie-talkie aficionados, so there may be technical details that we missed, but for us, the walkie-talkies did work pretty good. We tried it on one of the larger ships, the Mardi Gras, and I think we were able to get from...
But it was late. Like, we were at like 16 and 6. Like, I mean, not 16. No, it was 16.
Yeah, it was 16 and maybe deck 6.
So it was like 10 decks apart, but it was late and there was nobody else really up doing anything. I think we tried in the middle of the day once and we talked to like 5 other different people.
Yeah, it really freaked out the kids. And you're basically just like broadcasting where your kids were without you. So it really wasn't great for that. So if you want to bring walkie-talkies, we will still bring ours because it is sort of a good secondary source, because the Carnival Messenger app, it's great. We love it, but it is unreliable.
Hit or miss.
It is a hit or miss. Messages are delayed, or there's no notifications for when you have a message. So it's just reliant on you making sure you double check your messages. So the walkie-talkies are kind of a backup plan.
Yeah.
But it's we do rely more on the Messenger app than anything else. And also, I think iPhone now you can use it's a little
Ain't verified yet.
Yeah, we haven't personally verified it yet. We've had it work once on one sailing, but then it not work on another where you can use iMessage back and forth with no internet service.
We'll see this next time we go on the ship. We'll see.
Yeah. This is where I make my plea to give the littles phones. Any old phone that can connect to Wi-Fi and download the Carnival Hub app. It gives kids the ability to not only take pictures, but to communicate with you when they are at the kids club or you're on the Lido deck and maybe they're back in the cabin. We are in no way suggesting buy the littles a phone just to cruise, but just give them an older phone that has the ability to update, connect to Wi-Fi, and has the storage for the app, and maybe some pictures. You'll be surprised at the things they deem picture worthy. I think Alyssa was maybe 6 or 7 when we gave her a phone for the cruise. We gave her one of her brother's older phones. What's it? I don't
remember. 7? Yeah, it was an older phone though. It was one of the older phones that
it was
in the house.
Yeah, an older iPhone that we just sort of had laying around because they can also like and favorite and schedule activities that they want to attend at the kids clubs, which means that it'll also give them reminders that, hey, the Night Owls dance party is about to start, or Camp Ocean is now open, things like that. So they can see the activities on their schedules or on their own app.
During the kids club, what's going on in the kids club?
Right, what's going on in kids club. So it's not ideal if you're talking about a 5-year-old, but a 6 or 7-year-old who can navigate a phone, you're not going to be upset if he loses it. Go ahead, let him have a phone. It really is funny, even though a lot of Alyssa's pictures were of Alyssa.
Or floor.
Or the floor, yeah.
Or was it blurry?
Alexander was relatively younger when we first started cruising, and he surprisingly enough took a lot of pictures of sunsets. So that was kind of surprising to see that that's what he deemed picture worthy. So just consider it.
I mean, it's cool to see what their eyes catch and how they view a vacation, especially when it comes to pictures.
Yeah, through their lens.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
The cabins are typically ready around 1:30. Anytime before this, you may get lucky and get access to your room, but it's not guaranteed. Faster to the Fun shines a little here because even if your cabin is not ready, you at least get to drop your bags off in front of your room. Check out our video on Faster to the Fun for a more deep dive into that. Now let's get into Carnival Sign and Sell card, which is your key card or room key. It will be available at your room number or mailbox when your room is ready, depending on the ship. Everyone in your cabin will get a Sign and Sell card. This is essentially an all-in-one. It's your ID, your payment method, your room key, everything. It will stay with you at all times.
This is where having the right lanyard comes into play. On our first sailing, I got just any lanyard because all of the videos said, hey, you're going to need a lanyard for your Sign and Sell card. It'll be with you all the time. But they didn't tell me the specific details of why I needed the lanyard and how to choose a good lanyard. The one that we chose just went around our neck and it went into like a little plastic slip, which wasn't sufficient for what we were actually going to do. With some of the ships, you don't just put the key up to the door. You actually have to take it out and put it in the door. So having it in that little plastic sleeve was kind of unnecessary.
Counterproductive.
So you want a lanyard that is retractable, a lanyard that is detachable, and one that is free and has a little clip on it so that you can loop it into the little hole punch that's on the Sign and Sell card itself. Retractable, detachable. Those are very important because you're going to use this so much and so frequently that you want to have as flexible access as you can to the lanyard. The ones that we use are linked down below. Your mailbox is where the ship will communicate certain non-emergent things with you, like excursion tickets or info on where to meet for your excursion, reservation times, like if you do the cake decorating, excursion, they'll leave you a reminder in your mailbox. If you request the fun times on paper, which is the actual printout of the schedule, they will also leave this in your mailbox for you daily.
Food is available as soon as you board the ship. If you board early enough, you can actually forego buying lunch off the ship and just eat when you get on board.
All right, let's jump into my favorite cruise snack hack. Don't buy snacks on board. They're overpriced and very limited. Carnival offers ice cream, cookies, and things of that nature, but snack options are few and far between. So if you've got picky eaters, bring their favorite snacks. Just make sure they're pre-packaged and unopened. No homemade or pre-cooked food will be allowed on the ship. Save your money on drinks and the drink package. Not talking alcohol. This is a family channel. I'm just talking about sodas. We bring our own canned sodas instead of paying per drink or getting the drink package, especially with the kids. For us, it's just not worth it. They have a few free juice options and of course water at no charge, and we go through about 1 can per person per day because we usually have one of the free juices with breakfast and sometimes with lunch.
Be prepared, everybody. The lemonade and the iced tea have sugar, like lots of sugar. Now, the breakfast drinks like the orange juice, the apple juice, and that guava passion amazingness is good. It doesn't have as much sugar, and you only get it for breakfast. The iced tea and lemonade, you get the whole rest of the day. So just know that you've been warned. Just make sure you're ready for a little bit of sweetness.
And we take our sodas to dinner in the main dining room. They will bring you ice. Most of the time you won't even have to ask. They just see the can and assume you need it. Carnival allows you to bring up to 12 sealed cans or cartons that are 12 ounces or less per person per day per person, not per day, per person on embarkation day. You can bring a small cooler that's a max size of 12 by 12 by 12. So I like to get one of those like little cooler lunch bags and put the drinks in there, or you can use that cooler to carry meds. Whatever the case may be, it is a carry-on. It's considered a carry-on item. So you'll be holding that until your room is ready when you do take it on board, which again, why I love Faster to the Fun, because when you're carrying on like 4 cartons of canned soda, it's good to be able to go to the room and just sit that down instead of carrying, because we always board early, instead of carrying it around all morning long. All right, let's get into the pool. The main pool is on the Lido deck, which by the way, the Lido deck is pretty much where everything happens. Your deck parties and all types of contests, things of that nature, it's typically going to happen on the Lido deck. And this is where the largest pool is. This deck is always wet. They try very hard to keep it clean. I mean, not clean, but to keep it dry, but it is always soaking wet. We use water shoes and Crocs. Any shoes that are no slip are the best for the Lido deck, or any of the decks really, but the Lido deck primarily. People fall and you can get really hurt when you fall on this pool deck. Avoid it by wearing no slip shoes. My favorites are swim socks to wear around the ship because they give you a little bit of support, and there's a little bit of a sole, so you're not just walking around in what is actually socks. They feel as comfortable as socks, but they actually have a little bit of thickness to it, and like I said, they're anti-slip. There's always someone watching the pool area who is trained in CPR and water safety and first aid, but Carnival goes through great lengths to emphasize that there are no lifeguards on duty. Basically, watch your kids. Someone's here in case someone drowns, but their job is not to watch your kids, so you've really got to be on top of that yourself. The pools are generally open around 8 a.m. to midnight, and the pool depth ranges from up to 5 to 6 feet depending on the ship. The Vista class ships like the Horizon, the Panorama, the Vista, and the Venice class ships, the Venezia and the Firenze, they go up to 6 feet, while the rest of the ships typically stay around 5 feet or less as the maximum depth. Check down below for each ship's individual pool depth and what water slides your ship may have. Now, here is one that you may not have heard of that is kind of shocking for anyone traveling with toddlers or young kids who are not potty trained. No cruise line allows swim diapers in the pool. It's not a Carnival specific rule. It's actually a safety regulation that they cannot have swim diapers or Pampers in the pool. So if your kid is not potty trained, they're not going to be allowed to be in the pool or in the splash areas. So I would say get an excursion that does include a pool if you want your baby to have that opportunity, because it does kind of suck to go on vacation and the baby not be able to actually play in the water. And a lot of people really did not know that when they booked their cruise and were met with shock and awe when they were asked to get their baby out of the pool or out of the water play area.
People often wonder if the pools are open while the ship is in port. Yes, the pools and slides are open to use. In fact, the water slides and pools are a lot of times less crowded while the ship is in port. On boarding day, some people actually like to check in all their bags and just hit the pool and chill out until the room is ready.
One of my favorite pastimes on a cruise is the dive-in movies. This is basically a movie by the sea. It is awesome. You get to watch the movie. It's loud. You can hear it. You can hear the ocean in the background. There's typically a nice breeze. They have blankets available for you to rent at no charge. You can also get pool towels for rent. You just have to give them your sign and sail card or your cabin number. And as long as you return it, you do not get charged for it. You can also rent pool towels on the way off the ship, by the way, when you're hitting a port. You just have to make sure those towels make it back on the ship to be turned in so that you're not charged. The dive-in movies are usually new movies and some classics, a combination of the two. For example, for April of 2025, they're playing Despicable Me 4, Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, If, Inside Out 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Moana 2, Mufasa the Lion King, The Fall Guy, and Wicked. So it's kind of a mixture of what's currently in theaters and what's just new in general, and a couple of classics, or I'm not going to say classics, but older movies that aren't as new. Now, you won't see all of these movies on every ship. Each ship has a different set of movies that they play during any particular sailing. But that's just to give you an idea of how recent some of the movies are and some of what type of titles they have when you're on board.
Another thing we wish we knew before we started cruising was the breakdown of the age groups in the kids clubs. There are 3 kids clubs. There's Camp Ocean, there's Circle C, and Club O2. In Camp Ocean, the age groups are as follows. The turtles are ages 6 months to right under 2 years old. The penguins are ages 2 to 5, and the stingrays are 6 to 8, and lastly, the sharks are 9 to 11. And Circle C, which is your young teens club, is 12 to 14 years, and then also Club O2 is 15 to 17 years old.
And kids have some reluctance about going. Make them go. Make them go to Camp Ocean or Circle C, because a lot of times they will find that they bond over their mutual disdain for being there. So just have them go just to give it a try. Because they have a lot of icebreaker type of things where you get to know the people in there. And our kids have met kids on almost every sailing that they still talk to today via FaceTime or whatever. So just have them give it a chance, even though they're going to be reluctant to go.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just give it one chance.
Night Owls is for kids 11 and under and is in Camp Ocean. Now, Night Owls is not free. If there's a party, there is a flat fee, and if there's any other time that is that you use it, is charged per hour. Night Owls starts at 10 p.m. and it ends at 1 a.m. Check the Carnival Hub App for hours to be sure, and also fees.
And the picture that you're looking at here is what we paid for Night Owls when we used it. That was in what? January? Oh no, December of last year was the last time we used Night Owls. So that was the cost when we used it on the Mardi Gras. That's not to say that Carnival is not going to change the pricing. With anything in any video that you see on with us or with anyone else. Just use it as a general guideline, but be prepared.
Prices are subject to change.
That prices are subject to change.
Now is a good time to talk with your kids about being on the ship and meeting new friends. There will be a lot of new friends from a lot of different walks of life. So prepare your kiddos now for the disappointment of being told no. A lot of kids have complete freedom to roam the ship and do whatever they like and just check in with parents periodically. And then there are kids who are just like, hey, you're going to the kids club and this is where you're going to stay until I come back and get you. So if your kids will not be allowed the same freedom that the other kids are going to be allowed, then you want to go ahead and let them know ahead of time so they don't think, oh, because Johnny is leaving, that means that I can leave too. Because sometimes you'll have that when you're dealing with Circle C. Those kids, 12 to 14, can leave at will. There is no check in and check out with them. It's the younger kids that you have to give permission to check in and check out. And I believe that age to check yourself out of Camp Ocean with permission is what? 10? Not 10. It might be 9 or 10. So if you don't want your child to just leave, then you want to go ahead and set some boundaries in place and let them know that, hey, some kids are going to be able to do some things that you just cannot do. Unattended kids on these ships is a real problem.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
No.
Now, let's be real. Let's also make it clear on this. It's a big ship. It's basically a big city. You don't know everybody. You don't know the walks of life that are there. And so anything can happen. You want to make sure your kids are as protected as possible. So the last thing you want to do is put them in situations where they don't know how to deal with certain things. Last thing I want to do is have my kids sitting on the Lido deck next to water and something happened and you don't know what's going on because you don't know where they were. Just make sure that you know where your kids are at all times and protect them as best as possible on a ship filled with people that you don't know.
Right.
Children who are 16 years and older can debark the ship at a port without a parent or guardian's permission or supervision. If you want to change this, you can raise that age limit, but you must contact the onboard security department to let them know that you do not want your 16-year-old to get off of the ship without you. Parents also have the option to leave the kids on board at Camp Ocean while they're in port. We've never used this option, so we don't have any personal experience with it, but it is available if you want to go down and talk with Camp Ocean and ask them what's involved.
Now, we don't have any more little babies, but we know others do. So we have a few links to the Carnival Cruise sections where they give details on traveling with toddlers and infants. Be sure to check it out.
Everything has odd hours. It's not a situation where all the restaurants open at like 4 and close at 9 p.m. like the mall. You would think that with everything being in the same place like a mall, they would all have the same hours. But some things close at 3, some things close at 7, some things are open only on port days, only on sea days. For example, Sea Day Brunch I thought was just a clever nautical theme. Nope, it was instructive. On sea days, we brunch.
One thing we were not expecting to have to do was to get to shows as early as we did have to. Get to shows early. I mean, 15, 20, 30, even sometimes 30 minutes before the show is actually set to start because good seats fill up really, really fast, especially on a crowded sailing. If you want to get a good seat, especially for those good shows, Family Feud Live, Love and Marriage, you want to make sure that you are that you're early to the show and you got your seat before everybody else.
And if you're going to bingo, you really want to get there early because they have clipboards. And the clipboards are very limited, so they run out fast.
Yeah,
so,
no tables. Like you might be, you don't want to bingo on your knee and be pushing the damper through the pants leg. So
Yeah, anything that requires good seating for the best enjoyment, like even the piano bar. you want to get there a little bit early if you can to get in line for when the piano bar opens, because that's like a really big deal, is the fun of sitting right there at the piano. So if you get in line early, you'll get a good spot. Comedy club too.
Punchliner, yeah, it's a big one.
Anywhere where good seating is required to truly, truly enjoy it, get there early. All right, ship time versus your time. Hear me loud and clear. Do not get left behind because you did not understand ship time versus your time.
And it has happened.
It happens a lot. Your cruise may stay on its own time zone. That's the ship time. Even if the port is in a different time zone, always follow the ship's time, not your phone's auto-updated time. Ship time is king. And don't trust your Apple Watch or your Fitbit. None of these smartwatches. Don't trust them because sometimes they will automatically sync to your phone and get off of the ship's time. The Carnival Hub app shows you the ship time. Check that before heading off the ship and adjust yourself accordingly. Set alarms, timers, whatever you need, because the ship will leave you. They left people in Africa.
And they don't care. It's like they stick to a schedule. They hard stop letting people on and off the ship. If you are late, you are late. So
yeah. And once those boards are up, they're up. And
you can't jump.
You can't jump. Like the ship will literally leave without you. They're not sending a little small boat to bring you to the big boat. No. It will leave you, and it will be your responsibility to get to the next port or to get back home. It is completely up to you, and that is a nightmare.
There are 3 main deck parties on every sailing. There's the sail away party, there's the 80s rock and glow party, and there's the white hot night party. Now, for the 80s rock and glow party, people usually get decked out. I mean, 80s from head to toe. You talk about pastel colors, old school hip hop gear, they get decked out. White high night party, everybody's wearing white.
Just keep in mind that you don't have to dress up. It's just fun to dress up, but you'll have a good time nonetheless.
Yeah, something you might want to consider packing and just making sure it's on your packing list before you go, just to make sure you have the option to do so.
Melissa, she goes all out. You would think that she was an 80s baby. She's not. She's not. But she thrives on 80s night. That's her jam. The ship TVs have both paid for and free movies and some select channels. It also has camera footage so you can see what's happening in some areas of the ship. The most asked question that I've seen regarding the ship TVs is, can I bring my Fire Stick or Roku? Will it work? Well, for me, the jury's still out. Some people have bought universal remotes and have been able to change the inputs. We have never tried it. We just download movies and shows to our devices.
My biggest concern is that how you gonna connect it to the wireless internet on the ship. I've heard people say they brought some routers and a wireless modem on the ship and connected it to then be able to let everybody in the room have the internet. I don't trust it. I don't know if that's a reasonable thing, but there might be some research you have to do on your own.
I personally just prefer to take my iPad fully loaded with TV shows and movies that I've downloaded.
Yep. And that's one of the things we do before we actually, that's part of our packing list, is to have all the kids go through their devices and download a grip of shows, movies, so that they'll have something to do during downtime.
Now, Carnival's policy is they do not allow any additional connections. No USB ports, no DVD players, no iPods, no connections to their TVs. Like I said, I've seen other people try, but for us, we've never tried it. We just bring on our own. And also, just one more thing on the ship TVs, 3 complimentary movie channels are programmed to show up to 16 different movies rated G, PG, and PG-13 each day of your cruise. All right, elegant night is not mandatory. It's just a fancy night for dinner, or sometimes 2 nights in the main dining room, depending on how long your sailing is. You are not required to participate, and clothes on this night range from prom, wedding, church, to meet the parents' cookout attire. We've seen it all. The main dining room rarely turns you away. Sandals are okay, but maybe not flip-flops. Alexander wore dress slacks, a vest, and some black and white Nikes one day for elegant night. You can eat in other places if you choose not to go to them.
The elegant night is only for the main dining room. It's not for specialty dining or anything like that. It's not for the buffet. It's literally only for the main dining room. And if you're eating in the main dining room, you have to be dressed up within the attire that they specify for elegant night. Outside of that, if you want to eat anywhere else, have at it.
All right, this one is a quick tip. Allergies and mosquitoes are at sea too. Quite frankly, some of the mosquitoes in some of these other Caribbean areas are way more intense than our mosquitoes back home, okay? So pack off and your allergy meds. You don't get to leave your allergies back at your home port, okay? It's coming too.
All right, Cruise family, that wraps up part 1 of everything we wish we knew. As always, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to
Like and subscribe.
bye.